Certainly, COVID has had an impact for sure. Um, I would say, 1 year about this time, we had, a pretty dramatic decline in energy demand. We had we lost about 10 million barrels a day. But forecasts for this year show a rebound of about 5 to 6 million barrels a day. But while certainly the impact to demand was profound and unprecedented, really the biggest demand shock in history, it's important to note that 90% of the demand remained intact, which demonstrates, I think, oil's resiliency and necessity to fuel the world economy. We also identified a big problem that could create significant headwinds just as the global economy tries to recover and the world unlocks from COVID. And this is regarding investment. And the IEF, in collaboration with Boston Consulting Group, published a report in December that warned of future supply shocks caused by mainly oil and gas companies, but some national oil companies reducing investments due to the pandemic. And basically last year, CapEx cuts totaled about 35%. And this year, they're forecast to be between 20 and 30%.
If the investment is falling away, isn't that the clearest signal yet that people are thinking about other fuels apart from fossil fuels?
Well, I mean, certainly there are impacts regarding ESG investing and the move towards the energy transition. But really, the investment crisis that we talked about in our report is directly related to the demand hit from COVID. Now, but to your point, I mean, obviously pre-COVID, we saw a lot of capital flight from the sector. A lot of that had to do with, basically shareholder returns. You had shareholders move into other growth sectors like, healthcare and technology. But I think we're starting to see, actually, now that the oil prices have gone up a little bit, and it looks like we have this very robust demand outlook.
If there is a fall off in investment, which you say may well be bouncing back a little now, and I'm thinking perhaps an attempt around the world to move away from fossil fuels like oil, coal, could gas be a bridging force in any of this, natural gas, for the future?
Well, absolutely. I do believe natural gas is a transition fuel, and it's certainly cleaner, a cleaner fuel. We can make tremendous progress from coal to gas switching, absent other clean technologies to burn coal more cleanly. But gas is really is a basically right now clean fuel that can be scaled up, and certainly renewables play a role, but not basically you can't use wind and solar in every application, and so you're going to need hydrocarbons, mainly natural gas, to kind of fuel, I think, the growing demand in basically non-OECD countries, and really talking a lot of Asia here.
Heading towards COP26, I mean, the ultimate goal is carbon neutral. Is that achievable?
Yes, it is achievable. The question is, what are the pathways, and is it truly a transition, or is this some kind of disruptive? And I don't mean disruptive in terms of energy sources, but disruptive in terms of the global economy. The important point here is that achieving net zero is not the same as ceasing fossil fuel consumption, because there are many technologies in development that could remove carbon emissions created by burning fossil fuels or offset them. So limited fossil fuel consumption could still continue even with net zero emissions. Look, I think everybody agrees that achieving carbon neutrality is a huge undertaking that will require really an unprecedented global effort. Wind and solar are sort of, mainstream, technologies now. Nuclear also is, and all three of those have to grow as part of this mix. And I know nuclear is controversial, and people are just going to have to get over it. But in terms of new technologies, hydrogen certainly has the most momentum. But there could be others. You could have fusion, methane hydrates. We have to create new technologies to address climate change. We can't do it with existing technologies. We're not going to, go off fossil fuels tomorrow. So we need to replace them. And these technologies don't exist yet, or they're just not even in a commercialization phase.
Joseph McMonigle, thank you for joining us on The Agenda.
Thank you.